Here is your what it's like to be every level of a secret experimental military program. Level 1, the recruit. It starts with the door closing behind you. Heavy metal, automatic lock, no way back. No one explains anything. They don't need to. You've already signed everything that matters. 3 forms, 2 contracts, 1 document you didn't have time to read. You're inside. The hallway smells like disinfectant and electricity. The lights are too bright. The silence feels controlled. Cameras in every corner. A man in a lab coat walks past you without looking at your face. He already knows who you are. Everyone does. You don't know who they are. Your name isn't used anymore. You're given a code, E17. That's how it starts. You came here by choice. At least that's what you told yourself. They promised advancement, purpose, access. They said you would be part of something bigger. You believed that for about 6 hours, until the first test. You walk into a cold room, metal floor, a chair in the center, restraints already open. Sit. No explanation. You sit. The restraints lock. They test your pain. It's not torture. They make that clear. It's measurement. Neural response limits. Stress tolerance. You scream once, just once. Then you learn to stay silent. That's the first rule. No one wants to hear you react. You quickly realize there are 2 types of people here. Those who ask questions and those who stay. You choose to stay. In the first week, you see 3 recruits disappear. No one talks about it. You learn the second rule. Absence is an answer. Your world shrinks into routines. Wake up at 4:30, physical training at 5 a.m., cognitive evaluations at 7 a.m., injections at 9 a.m. You ask what it is. They say, enhancement. You stop asking. Your body changes first. Faster reflexes, less sleep, controlled appetite. Then your mind. You begin predicting patterns, responses before stimuli, movement before decisions. It's efficient. It's terrifying. You realize you're not being trained. You're being reprogrammed. And you let it happen, because leaving was never an option. Level 2, the tested. You survive the first month. That alone puts you above half. Now they start using you, not as a subject anymore, as a tool. You're given tasks, simple at first. Enter a dark room, find the exit in under 30 seconds. Solve codes under auditory pressure. Hold your breath to the limit while solving equations. They don't want correct answers. They want consistency. You learn to control your body. Then you learn to control fear. The second phase isn't about skill. It's about calibrated obedience. You receive your first command without explanation. Neutralize the target. The room is simulated, you know that. But the target doesn't look simulated. He begs. You hesitate for 1.8 seconds. They record it. You act. You don't sleep for 36 hours after. Not because of guilt, because of analysis. You review your hesitation. You correct it. That's the third rule. Emotion is delay. They begin rewarding performance, better food, more rest, limited access to information. You start wanting it, not because you need it, because it means you're moving up. There's no visible ranking, but everyone knows who's ahead and who's about to disappear. You learn to observe, to copy the best, to avoid the weak. Friendship doesn't exist here, only temporary alignment. In the 6th week, you execute a perfect mission. No hesitation, no mistakes, no emotion. They don't congratulate you. They move you forward. Level 3, the operator. Now you leave the controlled environment. Not completely, but enough. External missions, real environments, real risks. You receive a device implanted behind your ear. Direct communication, constant monitoring. They hear everything. You learn to think in silence. Your first operation lasts 18 minutes. Enter, locate, extract. No eye contact, no trace. You execute. Perfect. You receive $12,000. Clean money, no record. You understand the new currency. It's not money. It's operational trust. The more you deliver, the less they watch. Or at least that's what it feels like. You start to like it. The efficiency, the control, the absence of doubt. You don't think about before anymore. It has no use. You watch older operators. They move differently. Calmer, quieter, more empty.
You realize it's not fatigue, it's adaptation. You begin losing natural reactions. Loud noises don't startle you. Extreme situations don't raise your heart rate. You function. That's the goal. But there's a cost. You begin forgetting faces, details, memories that aren't useful. They don't ask you to, but the system rewards those who let it go. That's the fourth rule. Humanity is excess weight. You let it go.
Level 4, the specialist. Now you don't just receive orders, you receive responsibility. You lead small teams, 2 or 3 operators, more complex missions. You're not the best technically, but you're the most consistent, and that matters more. You start making decisions. Who goes in first? Who covers the exit? Who gets left behind if something fails? You learn quickly that leadership here isn't inspiration, it's calculation. You sacrifice an operator on a mission. It wasn't necessary, but it increased success probability from 82% to 96%. You choose 96%. The mission succeeds. You don't mention his name in the report. No one asks. You don't feel guilt. You feel clarity. That's the 5th rule. Efficiency overrides loyalty. Your access increases. You see parts of the program, fragments, other divisions, other experiments. You realize this is much bigger, much deeper. You're not special. You're useful. And that's better, because usefulness is survival. They start testing you differently, not physically, morally. They give you choices, both right, both wrong. They observe what you choose, and why. You stop justifying. Justification is noise. You execute, and move up. Level 5, the controller. Now you don't enter the field anymore, you control it. Dark rooms, multiple screens, live feeds. You watch operators like you used to be, moving, failing, dying. You decide when to correct, when to let them fail, when to end it. You start understanding the system, layers, compartments, internal lies. Not everyone knows everything, and they shouldn't. You gain access to classified files, operations that never existed, people who were never recorded. You begin to see the scale. Countries, governments, corporations, all touched. You don't react. Reaction is no longer part of you. You begin manipulating outcomes, small changes, subtle shifts, to see how far you can go. No one stops you. No one corrects you. This is a test. You know it. You continue. That's the 6th rule. Control isn't given. It's taken. You begin trusting yourself more than the system. That's dangerous, but necessary. Because you realize something. The system isn't perfect, but you can get closer. Level 6, the architect. Now you create operations from nothing. Objective, strategy, execution, consequence. You don't receive direct orders anymore. You receive intent and turn it into reality. You decide who lives, who dies, who never existed. You begin seeing larger patterns, long-term games, years, decades. You plant events, create scenarios, manipulate outcomes, unseen, uncredited. Power becomes invisible, and therefore absolute. But there's a cost. You don't sleep properly, not from fear, from overload. Your mind never shuts off, always calculating, always adjusting. Time blurs, days merge, missions overlap. You don't care, because everything works, until it doesn't. A small error, almost invisible, but you see it. Perfection doesn't exist, not even here. That changes something. You begin planning for failure, and who takes the fall? Never you, never again. Level 7, the director. Now you don't execute, you decide what exists, and what doesn't. The program answers to you, partially. There are still layers above, but you can't see them, and that bothers you. You start searching, locked files, old protocols, deleted references. You discover the program didn't start like they said. It was smaller, simpler, less efficient. Someone shaped this, before you. Someone at the top. I want to reach that level, not for power, for understanding. You begin eliminating internal threats, people who know too much, or think too much. You call it maintenance, they would call it a purge. You don't use that word. You still believe you're in control. That's the 7th rule. Stability requires silence, and you enforce it, at any cost. Level 8, the ghost. No one sees you, no one says your name. Some don't even know you exist, but everything goes through you. Global decisions, invisible operations, changes no one can trace. You're not in the system, you are the system. You don't execute anymore. You observe, adjust, remove, replace. No emotion, no urgency, no rush. You have time, too much time. And that's when you realize there's no next level, no exit, no final reward, only continuation. You've become essential, and therefore trapped. You can't leave, because you are what keeps everything running. You look at old files, recruits, names, codes, E17. You recognize it, but feel nothing. Memory without weight. You watch a new intake, a camera feed, a hallway, a door closing. That same sound, the beginning. You watch the new code assigned, E42. He looks around, confused, hopeful, unaware. You know what comes next.
Every test, every choice, every loss. You don't intervene. You never intervene. Because the system doesn't need saviors. It needs continuity. And it will continue. Like you did. Like all before you did. Somewhere a recruit just walked in. He thinks he chose this. He didn't. But he will understand. Eventually.